Hello everyone, today I wanted to showcase a game that I played this weekend at the 33rd Annual Eastern Class Championships. This was round 1. I was playing against Alexander Fishbin, or Alex Fishbin, who has a FIDE rating of 2400. I have a FIDE rating of 1800 because I don't play too many FIDE tournaments. And my opponent is a Grandmaster. So let's get right into this game. I am white. This game is not FIDE rated, but it is USCF rated. It's not FIDE rated because this is the first 2 rounds of the tournament, which they are 60-minute games. The rest 3 rounds were FIDE rated, but so I did not get any FIDE points for this game. But it's still USCF rated, so it's a pretty big deal. G3, G6, Bishop G2, Bishop G7. And just one very important thing, before this game, going to this game, I knew my opponent exclusively plays the modern defense. And with white, he actually does something very similar. He plays e4, d3, castles, and some sort of h3, g4 line. So I knew this. So I tried to bait him, playing c4, castles, and I really like when my opponent plays e5 because this means that they've already committed their pawn structure. So here I was debating between d3 and e4 or simply just the move d4, which I did go for. Knight to d7 is played, and my opponent, as you guys can see from his rating, is not at his peak. His peak was 25-29, I believe, and he is an author of multiple chess books that you guys can find on Amazon and other websites. So he's a pretty important person in the chess world, and knowing this is obviously kind of important because I knew exactly what he was going to do, and I've seen in multiple of his games, actually, he likes to put the queen on e7. And I thought, okay, he's going to put the queen on e7. I'm going to play bishop to a3 instead of bishop to b2. So I can pin, and then I can potentially take and cause some problems. He played c6, and here I realized that if I play the move, well, of course I played bishop to b2, but I realized if I play the move bishop to a3, he has the move queen to a5. Okay, plug this in. Here he has the move queen to a5. Okay, here the best move is e4 first, before queen to a5, but he has the move queen to a5. He attacks both my knight and my bishop. Here I'd have to retreat, and then I saw the move e4, and this just did not look very pleasant. So that's why instead I save a tempo, play the move bishop to b2. He traded. I took with a knight. Again, I was debating on which piece to take with. I eventually concluded that if I take with a knight, I still have good pressure on the d file, whereas if I take with a pawn, everything's closed. Knight to c5 is played, queen to c2, a5. And also, again, the knight protects this f5 square for the bishop, so it's very hard for the bishop to develop. And a5, and here I started to get a feeling that I was starting to lose the advantage. Because here, if my opponent played the move played queen to b6, I could not think of a good move. The computer is saying a3 in this position. Or sorry. Yeah, the computer's saying bishop to a3 or a3. I was not going to play a3 because this move honestly does nothing. It just weakens b3, and you can't even play b4. So I'm not even sure what the real purpose of that move was, and I was honestly very unhappy if my opponent, I was very unhappy with my position. But then he played the move queen to e7, and here I saw something which now a3 is an excellent move because I'm threatening b4. My opponent played bishop to e7, and I played the move e4. And here, believe it or not, I'm actually starting to lose my advantage. He takes, plays the move knight to e4, and I missed this. I thought he was going to play knight to e6. I was just simply going to trade, potentially, and play a move like queen to b3, queen to e2, something like that. And here, after the move knight to e4, I panicked. Again, this is only a 60-minute game. I was down 8 to 9 minutes, continuously. Excuse me. During this game, it was 30, 40, 20, 30. It was like that. I was down 10 minutes. And here, in this position, I played the move knight to b3. Knight to g5 was played. And here I made a drastic mistake with the move queen to d3, which blunders some things that are not very certain. And when I played this move, I was either thinking, okay, my opponent's going to absolutely destroy me, or I'm going to potentially draw the game as it is a forced draw, as you guys will see. So here I was thinking, okay, my opponent has 2 options. Either he attacks me here, plays h5, h4, knight h3, bishop h3, something like that, right? Or he has to give up this pawn potentially, and I'm just gonna be slightly like better. Or there is a drawn line with bishop to f5, which maybe we'll get into later. But here the move knight to h3 check wins the game for black. It's -2 almost. Here I would simply take. If I move over to h1, there's knight g4 hitting f2. I would take the knight with the bishop. Bishop takes h3 would be played, and here the move rfe1 is simply forced. The rook would be hanging, and here d5. And here, basically, what black is arguing is knight to e4 is incoming, h5, h4 is incoming, f5 is incoming, and I just cannot stop this. So let's say if I play c5, for example, which is the top computer move, knight to g4 now. Threatening knight e5, knight f3, and yeah, as you guys can see, this is getting out of hand very fast. And with like 30 minutes left on the clock, it was very possible for my opponent to find this move without going to severe time pressure. He was playing a bit fast because I think he was a bit overconfident possibly. And here he rushed and he played the move bishop to f5. You guys can see the valuation bar just goes to zeros. And yes, there is a draw on the board for me. And I found it. I took the pawn on d6 after the move bishop to c2, which is forced, by the way. If you take my queen, I am just up a pawn in this position, and you have no counterplay to show for it. Here, the best move is knight to g4. That just shows you black has nothing. Like, all these pieces, like, you just, like, push, and it's going to be very, very good. So instead, he plays bishop c2, takes, and here, I was thinking in this position that many of you guys might be thinking that I might have just lost the game. I'm not sure why the computer is saying zeros, because my rook is forked with my knight. If I move my knight, I lose my rook. If I move my rook, I lose my knight. So here, the only move that saves the game, everything else is just losing, is rook to a1, forcing rook takes. Again, if you take the knight, you lose the rook, and when he takes my rook, I take back with the knight. And here, okay, rook to d1 would have been very slightly better, but instead I choose rook to c1, takes. And now here, it's still very much a game, because there are 4 minor pieces on the board and rooks, and he has an unbalanced pawn structure. So I thought, if anybody can win this position, it is black, so I have to trade off all of the pieces, and I did that with this move h4. h4 forces knight to e6. Knight to e4 is the top computer move, and after the move knight takes e4, this entire line is all forced, by the way. Takes, knight here, rook to d4, knight to f5. Here it would have been very, very, very slightly better for him to actually go to e8 instead. But okay, he goes to f5, rook to d3, knight to b5, and now here I play the move knight to b3. And this move seals the deal because I'm just going to put the knight on d4 eventually and trade off all the pieces. So knight to d6, knight to d4, king to f8, which I did not see any point in this move, because I thought it was actually a draw offer, because when we trade rook here, he actually played rook to e8, and after rook to d7, then he played rook to e7, rook here, and then king g7, but okay, here it just says just king g7, bishop to f1 is played, and here there was really nothing more to be done. He offered me a draw, and I accepted, or maybe I offered him a draw, and he accepted. But end of the day, I drew this game. I gained 9 USCF rating points, or 9.5 around. So that got me up to 2160 after this game, and his USCF rating went down to about 2480 from 2484. And yeah, so that's how I won this game. And now the under promotion, one of the best games I've ever played, best endings I've ever played, was winning a drawn endgame. And that is right after this. This was my last round game against Arthur Zhu from USA, obviously, and he has a rating of 1879. He plays the move e4, and this is the last round game, and I'm covering this because I did really poorly in my middle 3 games in this tournament. I lost the second one, I lost the third one, and I drew the fourth one. So this is really these are the best 2 games of my tournament. So bishop to f5 is played, and this is the advanced Caro-Kann. And before going into this game, I actually knew that this exact position was going to happen. And I knew till about here, I want to say. I knew the position bishop to e3 was the move I knew that he was going to play. And this is basically because I went through his games. I played him once with the same color, so I just knew that game. I was going to follow that. And in that game, in this position, I had played the move c5. And this had actually been a very bad decision, as after a6, I had gone on to lose this game. So here, I thought I'd switch it up a little bit. I planned the move f6. So after the move bishop to f4, then we would get a game that would go something like this. I thought I had much better chances in this position, and the computer agrees with me. And here, my opponent played the move bishop to e2. This move threw me off because I was only expecting bishop to e3, bishop to f4. So I thought, okay, if I play f6, then he's just going to go bishop to f4 straight away, and I'm just going to be in a worse position. Okay, so that's why I played the move a5. This is another idea I'd seen, that you play a4, you try to boot the knight out, then you play c5 and b5. a4. So, yeah, I mean, I had to play the move f6 because I knew no theory. Should have probably studied my theory before this tournament. I played the move f6, which was obviously wrong. The move is h6, or knight to e7, planning c5. And, yeah, okay, so I just didn't know my theory. f6 is played. Here, my opponent is significantly better after the move bishop to f4, as it just saved them one tempi. And my opponent also doesn't know his theory, so he takes the pawn. Yay. I am just slightly better here. I take castles, bishop to d6, and I'm just cruising through this game. And here I was trying to sense, I was like, okay, I'm going to win this game pretty light. This is just cruising. Like, I cannot lose this position. Well, got to a point where actually it's even. It's equal. And if anyone has some winning chances, it is me. Knight to b5. Here, in this position, I was actually thinking about knight to g4, knight takes f2. I disregarded this idea because knight to e4 is just better. It's just more centralized. Then when knight to b5 happened, it just like clicked out of my mind that this knight takes f2 thing was even possible, which is the top line from the engine. If you take, you are just winning in this position because you take, and then go bishop to e4, which is kind of crazy. You take the knight, you play bishop c5, and you are just significantly better in that position. I missed this, okay? And just a small thing to know, these are 90-minute games, or 80-minute games, excuse me. But after move 40, you get an additional 30 minutes, and every move there's 30-second delay. So we have a ton of time to think. Queen to b7 is played. And here, I know all of you guys are waiting for that under promotion moment, and it is going to come. Here, I just chomped off the knight to b3, and I thought I was completely winning. Let me repeat that. I thought I was completely winning. I am not completely winning, as you guys can see from the evaluation bar. I'm slightly better. Queen to d1 was played. I played the best move, and here, I thought I was going to win this game. This game went on. This game went on for another, like, 40 moves. I took the bishop. He took back. I played rook here. Now it's -2. He took my knight, and here, the craziest thing happened. I touch the rook, right? And I take it with the bishop. Okay. I take that rook on b3 with the bishop. You can't really take the rook, like, if you guys can see, like, it's just, like, not allowing me, it's just not allowing me to take the rook, right? It just moves it back. My opponent was very confused, and in that moment, I put the bishop back, and I just took it with the queen. Because I had missed it, my calculation, I was supposed to take it with a knight, and because this all bishop thing happened, it just got me off guard. And the real idea was knight takes, knight to b5, and he was going to play the very nice move, bishop c2, which chops the queen, actually. So that was the goal, and I think I was just, like, trying to mess up the move order or something. I took it with the queen, like, oh my god, like, I am worse after I take it with the queen. Which now I'm still regretting, and this is the last round, right? So it's a Sunday evening at like 6 p.m. or at, like, it starts at 4 or like 3:30. It's like 6 now, and it's an hour 30 drive home. So it's going to take me a while. Like, I want to try to finish up this game as soon as possible, and that just did not help whatsoever. I took it with the rook, bishop d3, queen to b4, and here I won back a pawn, right? I gotta give myself credit for that. I won back a pawn, and here I'm just gonna fast forward because nothing really happens. And in this position, we traded the queens, and the moment that I realized that this game was gonna be a draw was right about here. I realized my opponent moves his king over and just keeps moving his rook back and forth. This game's just gonna be a draw. He did exactly that. He just moved his king over, started moving his rook back and forth. Now, how do you win this position? And what is this crazy under promotion moment that I had to do to win this game? Is just a draw. I want to drawing I want to draw in position, right? I played h4. He played rook a5. I played g5, excuse me, because here there was again the issue. If I play this, rook to a4, I'm gonna run into some trouble here. Just the king is cut off, the pawns can't do anything, so I had to bring both pawns at the same time. So I played g5, rook to c5, king to g6. Again, if you go king here, there's going to be f4. And right about here, played h3, play rook a6, king h5, rook a4, rook g2, check, king here, rook g3. And here, my opponent, finds the move that saves him the game. h2, rook to a1 first, king to h4, rook to a8, and here I had to under-promote to a knight. Everything else is losing. Let me say that again. Everything else is losing except, okay, there's rook takes f3 here, but, okay, there's rook takes f3, king here, you just take the pawn, you're fine. You're going to draw the game pretty easy. So, to have any chances, I played the move knight to h1. h1 equals knight. King to e3 is played, and this loses the game. So my opponent, all he had to do here with, like, I don't know, half a minute or something. I'm not really sure what he had. He had really low time. King to f1 just draws the game. Okay, I would have probably tried something like this with the king up, and, like, king, rook to a1 would have been probably played, and, like, something like this. Excuse me. Rook to g1. I would have tried this. I would have played, like, here, let's say. Rook to g1, and rook to f2 can be played. Here there's a very nice move, rook to g2, which loses the game. Excuse me, sorry. The move is rook to a1. Just keep funneling back and forth. And if you ever get too close to the king, there is g2, and you just lose your rook. So I basically calculated all this. I knew this was going to be a draw, so I thought the only chance I had was knight h1, and he blundered. I played king to h3, and that is how I won a drawn endgame by under-promoting to a knight. If he takes, there is just nothing he can do. I am just going, even check here. You can't take the pawn, it's a check. No queen. So that is how I won this game, and how I drew a GM. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Smash the like.